thought you
They
were
want you to
there.
know
Please.
they're doing it.
Rise for the pledge, yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That cheat sheet there. Councilwoman Schott, would you please lead us in prayer?
Heavenly Father, thank you for entrusting us to be the stewards of our community. We ask that you bless our community with peace and prosperity, and we pray that we will always be mindful of the needs of all of our residents. We ask you to protect our police department, fire department, and our other employees as they go about their duties. We also ask that you bless the members of our military, past and present. We thank you for giving them the courage to serve. We pray that you will protect them and return them safely home. Thank you for the many blessings that you've given us and keep us ever mindful of them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Councilman McKinney is absent this evening.
Motion excused.
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Thayer?
Yes.
Hartman?
Aye.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Motion for the minutes.
Motion for the minutes.
I have one.
Oh, did I? Oh, and I even fixed it and still spelled it wrong.
What'd
She spelled Schott with an I.
Well, no. Spelled my first name wrong.
Oh, okay.
That was cold.
That was good.
Edit that out if you
We
guys.
never have a sign that said the shop house.
I have a motion by Bailey,
And I'll second.
seconded by Hartman. Bennett?
Yes.
Thayer?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Bills.
Motion for the bills. Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Thayer?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Who do you want to sign?
We don't have someone that takes over, you can sign it. Did you look at the bill?
Was there something I should have seen that I missed?
No, it's mainly because of the credit card thing they want us to sign off on. There was one credit card for, it's a Capital One, which is Menards.
Menards, yeah.
That's the only thing that I paid on it, credit cards.
I really work with time report. Did I see one in there?
Yeah,
No.
I didn't see it.
Fireman.
Oh, I didn't give you an earlier time report? I'm sorry, I had it, I just didn't copy it.
Okay, fireman's time.
Motion paid fireman's time.
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Thayer?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
When you're ready, Deb.
Okay. I personally need to revisit something that I gave to the mayor last meeting. The mayor, read the obituary of Carolyn Cloa, and we held a moment of silence for her. But I was approached by another resident who stated that what we said in the meeting was incorrect. And even though I read the obituary, or the mayor read the obituary and stated what was in it, the obituary apparently to this person was incorrect. So that forced me to apologize to the resident, research what they discussed with me, information in the fire department, and here's what I come up with. Their belief that Mrs. Cloa was not the first firewoman or the first EMT. Their family was awarded a plaque in the past that held that position. I discovered that the first female applicant ever to apply at the Beach City Fire Department was Eva Pohl on February 7th of '78. She was followed by Eleanor Stanky on 2/21 of '78, and then Mrs. Carolyn Kloa on 9/19 of '78. So she would have been the third female. The first young lady, and she was very young at the time, applied. I don't know how much participation she was in because they couldn't find too much on her after her original application. The other two women did hold offices. They did serve together in training for EMT in January of it said '78, but maybe they both took it and then applied for the department. They were recognized in October of '78 to be the first female EMTs. I cannot tell you who was the first woman that ran the call. That I don't know. To date, I personally would like to thank all the volunteers, women and men, for their services to our community. Without each and all of them, our department would be lacking. The second item I have is I checked on the Lifeline, Chief, and we called, there was two major ones that we called. The second one is the most used one, and they do use a 7-digit number. And I didn't, one of them said they used 911, but the major one that people are advised to get in this area said they use a 7-digit number.
Is that because it's a landline?
It's a landline.
That's why.
That's why. Now, the first place, which is the Lifeline company, told Kathy they dialed 911, but we're wondering if that person wasn't confused. Because after she talked to, I think it was called the Guardian or something that does it, they were very specific on how they handled those calls. So we wanted you to know that that's what we found out also. I got a phone call from TWI, which was the group of young men that came through the workshop. They wanted to know if we wanted to rehire them this year. It'd be $60 an hour to clean up the flower beds and plant new flowers, paying for the flowers. Are you interested in hiring them again to plant and clean up? Or
I think I would be. I thought they did an excellent job last
I'll make a
year.
motion.
Yeah, Debbie do it. Used to do it. didn't
I
you?
used to do it all the time. I don't know that I can anymore. We just won't go.
According to Councilman Hartman, you can.
You ready?
I'm sorry, who made the motion, Ben?
I did.
I'll second
Okay, and that would be both for the cemetery and
Right.
Village Hall, and just like they did last
it.
year. You figure if $60 an hour, they're not gonna spend maybe 2.5, 3 hours at the most in all the places. And I made it quite clear that that has to cover the plants too, so.
I did notice something out here. There's a light that goes over top of our sign for Beach City.
Right.
I don't think that light works.
Well, you have to talk to the village administrator on
I will.
that.
Some of that was coming up because of the price of the signs and everything.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Did Marcia tell you about our
We don't
security
go
light?
back and do anything,
After
It's
they
up
do
to-
the snow.
because it was
Is it?
awful through the summer.
Yeah.
When they had the power went out, it went out,
It's
it has
just
to
to
come
get it
back on
prepped for
yet.
the season
Yeah.
and plant, yeah.
It does look bad in summer.
Bennett? Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes,
And Shutt?
Yes.
yeah, they did a nice job last year.
Mhm.
Okay, we met, Mr. John Thomas today. He works for the US Census, and they are hiring within our village to hire residents to assist them with the 2020 census. The pay ranges from $12.75 to $13 per hour. Training begins in June of 2019. The work starts in August of 2019, and the persons will be using a smartphone technology, but they have to apply online. And Mrs. Willis has a copy of the information on the online address of where they have to go to put their application in. We received the part in to fix the copier, and to the electric lineman helped fix it for me. It is taking care of the drum, but it continues to, I don't wanna say, it causes a jam, but it's not because it's jamming paper up through it. it's not picking up feeding quite right. And we would like to get your approval to purchase the new one for there. Because if it starts to jam when she's running her, invoices for electric, it's gonna really cause a problem. The new one to replace this one, which just makes me laugh, is $1,892.
That's all?
That's all, that's the one that replaces exactly what we have. It's not identical, but it replaces that model, but they hold the contract for it, and the prices have come down.
Do they, and they take that machine?
No, we can still keep it and share it with another department.
And
Okay.
that includes a service contract?
We have to do the service contract. The service contract per copy is .011 per copy.
I was gonna say, I'm sure it counts copies though.
Yeah. So we would be still paying a service contract on
Are
it.
we gonna take this one out and put it at another building, or are we
Well, I
leaving
was
it
gonna
there?
put it up for grabs to see who wanted it.
I want We need it.
What we've done is we've changed the paper trays around trying to solve the problem. And it does help a little bit, but there's times we go to the copier to make a copy and we're really fighting with it to get copies out. Because it'll start to jam, we have to open it up and change it, and, because we make multiple copies, we don't give it too much of a rest during the day. So I'm looking to approve $1,892, which will be split between all the departments. And I hate to say it, but utilities will pay the most because they will work it the most, they will use it the heaviest.
I'll make the motion.
How much is the contract for the service?
It's .011 per copy, so, and they'll meter the copies, and I have to report in how many copies we make each month, and then they'll bill me for it.
So it's very much.
Yeah. I have a motion by Bailey.
I'll second.
One more thing before they vote.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. Does the metering contract, does that include consumables?
Paper?
No, ink, the toner and all that?
Oh, you know what, I didn't check. The last one I had did.
I know most of them do, I
They
just wondered
did.
if they
Oh,
mentioned
here.
it.
Would you like to take a look?
Sure.
I brought it with me.
Well, he's checking.
Yeah.
I see we have a.
It's right on the front,
Oh.
yeah.
Let me see. Okay.
Everything except paper.
Where are you gonna put the new one at, dear?
Same spot, because it's wired into our computers.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I just had a question, we had a return item, something. I just was wondering if we have that often.
Oh, yeah. You'll receive them to say returned item or NSF.
Yes, I know.
Usually they say NSF. This one was actually returned item, but neither of the banks could tell us why.
Do you go after that money?
Yes, Cindy has to go.
All right,
Yeah,
that's-
yeah, Cindy has to
that was my
recollect that money.
question.
She has to post anything that was paid for on an account, post it back and recharge them, and then wait for the new one, new payment to come in.
Thank you.
Bennett?
Yeah.
Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
Okay, the last thing I have is the reading of the legislation. Both items were completed by our solicitor. The first item is Resolution 1903, a resolution declaring the necessity, I can't even say it now, for an additional levy of a tax and requesting that the county auditor certify to this council certain information pursuant to RC 5705.03B. This says 2 mills. I would say if you want to vote on this, you need to talk to the chief, because he has some stuff to bring up regarding the millage of this levy. Since we've all met last time, there's been additional problems with the department.
So, should we do an executive session?
No, just be like a first reading. And if you wanna go back and pass it, we'll have to change something in it. I can change it by hand and fix it, but right now it needs to be the first reading. And we have resolution number 1904, a resolution modifying rates for Ohio Billing Incorporated invoicing for non-residential emergency medical services. Resolution number 00-01 passed May 1st of 2000. This is the resolution he prepared to increase the rate as suggested by Ohio Billing. And would you like that to be our first reading? Okay. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Nobody on the visitor thing tonight unless they're invisible.
No, sir.
Chief Anderson, what do you have for us tonight?
A few things. First of all, calls year to date, we've run 50 calls. Once again, we've covered all of them but one. Last year is the same date, we were at 48, so we're running neck and neck with last year still. Now, what Debbie had started to tell you about the fire levy, and unfortunate, if you remember last meeting, we approved getting our Scott packs, our SCBA inspected. They were flow tested, they were hydro tested. Warren Fire come in on Wednesday. They flow tested all our Scott packs, everything flow tested okay. When he went to gather the bottles, because they sent him out to hydro test, he said, we got a problem. He says, composite bottles, the life expectancy on a composite bottle is 15 years. The NFPA date stamped on our bottles is November of 2004. So in November of 2019, we are out 8 SCBAs and 16 bottles. There's nothing we can do about it. We have to get rid of them. I mean, so now this is where the levy comes back into effect, okay? When I come over here and asked for this levy, I told you that I thought 2 mil was more than sufficient. I did not know at that time that this was gonna happen. You're talking, he told me you can buy bottles, just the bottles for them packs. The bottles, he said he would have to talk to the salesman, he would guess $1,100, $1,200 a piece. We would need 16 bottles. That would be $18,000 to replace these bottles. And we're still using a pack that's 15 years old. And in my opinion, if you can buy a new pack for $5,000, you would be smarter to do it. So on the fact of the levy, I guess what my question to you is, and I have another plan for this problem, and I'll get to that in a minute. My question to you is do we want to stick with the 2 mil levy, or do we want to increase it and try to cover ourselves now and increase it to a 3 mil 5-year levy? The money difference in a 2 mil, we're looking at $15,990 a year for a 2 mil. We'll bring in $23,986 for a 3 mil. Over the course of 5 years, that's $119,930 for a 3 mil versus the $79,950 for a 2 mil. I don't know. I don't know what the game plan is. I know we're in a spot that I don't want to be in, but unfortunately there's just no way around it. So I guess my suggestion would be, now with this coming up and not knowing it was coming up, maybe now's the time before we put a 2 mil levy on the ballot in November and then wish we had the extra money. Maybe now's the time to decide to do a 3 mil and try to cover what we need to cover.
Has a 3 mil levy ever passed here?
I know the police have a 3 mil levy, but I don't know. I don't
The
know.
problem is if you're taking a risk of not having it pass when you go from 2 to 3.
And that's my thing. So now here's, let's backtrack a little bit or move forward a little bit. What I give everybody was a copy from Ohio First Responder Grant Writers, okay? Ohio First Responder Grant Writers, if you look in that copy, they have a very high acceptance rate through FEMA. Compared to Vera, they're blowing Gatchel grant writers out of the water. Vera in a day was very good at writing grants, and she has not been as successful for us as we would hope. When I talked to Mikey from Ohio First Responder Grants, he reached out to me. We talked for a long time on the phone the other day. I told him the predicament we're in with PACs. He told me that he could get PACs replaced, that anything that was NFPA 2007 and older. These are definitely in that category, obviously, because he told me that we would be a prime candidate to get these PACs. If he could write us a FEMA grant, now mind you, that won't be until next year, because this year's FEMAs have not been awarded yet. If we could switch to their grant writing company and he could secure us a FEMA grant, then we would be back up and out of the water again. And the thing is, if we write a FEMA grant, I believe we write it for the amount of seats in the truck, so we would actually get more packs than what we have now. And it would replace all of our packs, we would be back up to the most up-to-date equipment, and we would be good for 15 years on SCBA again. 15 years, it may not be our problem, any of us in this room may not be our problem anymore, you know what I mean? But now, with that being said, first responder grant writers is more expensive than Vera. Vera writes a grant for $600. First responder for the first grant, he charges $150 an hour. He maxes it out at $2,500 for the first grant. So what my suggestion is to you, and I have to get this approved through the association, but I think I can. If we would half this grant, okay, if the association would be willing to pay $1,250 and the village pay $1,250, could we secure this grant writer and move on to a new grant writing company that I definitely think would give us a lot better odds than what Gatchel has?
I would have to think that first of all, I'd try to get the levy first, then I'd worry about the grant writer if it's possible.
The problem is the grant writer writes 100 grants a year, okay? When I talked to him the other day, he is already locked in at 56 for next year. He said he's not rushing us. He is trying to help us. He said he don't want us to jump into something we're not sure we want to do, but he's just making it known that he is about half capacity now, and he's just letting us know that he don't want us to lose out if we do want to go with him.
Do you ever notice, Bill, everything we do comes down to, we gotta do it now.
I'm not
The
telling
same
you we
thing.
got.
I understand
No, I'm not
what
saying
you're
we have to
saying.
do it now. Like I said, I'm almost certain that I can get the association to chip in half of that money. Now, here's the other thing I wanna say with Ohio First Response Grants, is he asked me, he said, has Gatchel got you your reimbursement for your grant writer's fee? And I said, no, she has not. He said, that makes no sense to me, because he said that the grant will reimburse you up to $1,500 for writing the grant, which we have never been told that through Gatchel, and that's the first thing he told me when we started talking the other day.
Never heard that.
So, like I said, we've been with Gatchel for at least 6 years now. We've wrote probably 2 grants every year, and she's secured us 2 grants so far out of 12. She got us a grant for 9 sets of turnout gear, and she got us a regional FEMA grant, which was not what we wanted, but she did get us radios out of it. And I'm not saying that, you know, I just know I've seen what this guy can do, and he is definitely able to answer a lot more questions than Vera is. If I talk to Vera about stuff, she'll say, well, we could try it, and this guy will flat out tell me, you know, yes, we can, no, we can't, and if I don't think you got a shot, I will not write it.
Yeah, you get
So-
what you pay for.
Well, and that's it too.
And you know,
I have a question for you.
Yes.
If we would hire him, but he cannot file the grant to replace our equipment now.
We would not owe him until he files a grant. So I'm not asking for money tonight.
Why would he do it in a year for us, or next year, because we're gonna have to pay to buy those pieces of equipment anyhow?
by November.
Well,
By
here's
the
the
tanks?
thing. We have 4 packs. Our ISI packs, if you remember, the village bought back in 2013. Our ISI packs are still good.
Okay.
They are hydrostatin the bottles on them. I did not have them hydrostatin the bottles on the Scott packs. That would have been almost $1,000, and I didn't see the point when they're gonna be junk in 6 months. The ISIs are still good. Now, here's the problem I face with with Warren. They broke a valve on one of our bottles today, and he called and he tried to tell me that we're gonna have to pay $450 to replace this valve. I said, no, wait a minute, you know, when Dan took care of it, he said, you snapped the valve doing the hydro test, why are we responsible? So now we're arguing back and forth with Ohio Rescue as to who's paying for this, and I don't think the village should pay for it. Our bottle was fine when we sent it out, they broke the valve. So if worse comes to worse, come November, we can take our Scott packs out of service, we will still have 4 ISI air packs. Is it gonna be enough? I mean, it would have to be, I guess, unless we go out and buy some used bottles or something for our Scotts and try to get a little more time, you know.
Would you be legal at that with 4? And would it be all right?
We would only have 1 truck with SCBA's in it. What we would probably do, we would put two in an engine and two in a rescue, and unfortunately, that would render one of our engines out of service.
How much business did we do with that guy that wasn't gonna say he broke a thing?
How rescue, or Warren Fire, we do a lot of
A
business
lot of
with.
business.
And that's what I
ended up
said.
Gonna lie that they didn't do it.
Well, he ain't lying, he admitted that he broke the valve, but now he's saying that we're responsible. Well, in my opinion, we're not responsible. And I haven't got a chance to talk to him. Dan's been handling it, and Dan is waiting on a phone call back from them to see what they're saying. He says it may be replaced under warranty through Avon, which is who deals with ISI, but we don't know a final answer, and that's why I'm not asking for any money tonight, I'm just letting you know where we
You
stand.
know, if you go with the 3 mil levy, you're gonna have to go out and work hard to make sure you get that.
And that's what I'm saying, I don't know that increasing the millage is the right answer. I don't, I just don't know where we stand. The right answer, that the only answer we have is a FEMA grant.
Really,
But
I wanted
unfortunately,
you to
you're
go a little
talking
bit
next
higher,
year.
the 2 to begin with, in case something happened,
Oh, no.
that you was gonna need that
Yeah,
money
but you gotta
later.
pass it.
And I
So if you go at
understand, John.
if you go at 3 and it don't pass, it's not gonna do you any good.
Well, and if we can't pass it, then we can't get our second cot, we can't get our life back.
Well, you'd have to go back and lower it down to 2 for the next time, that's all, if that's the way it is.
I think you need to, ask the residents what's more important, your health, your ability to get to medical care, or a couple cents a year on your property.
I like the 3 because it gives us a little leeway down the line,
Well, I understand
that we
that.
don't have to go back and start getting more money all the time.
I think you need to tell them just point blank, you know, we're talking about your health, our ability to transport you out of this village to get you medical care.
And like
Now,
I
how much
said,
is that worth to you?
we can push as hard as we can push, and I mean, either way, we're not guaranteed to pass a levy, we're not guaranteed to get a FEMA grant. But either way, we've gotta do one or the other. And like I said,
Let's go with the 3, and then if it doesn't go, the next time we'll have to go with the 2. Put it right back on.
But that puts you how long? No money.
You're only talking 6 months to a year at the most.
Yeah, 'cause you can go November and if it doesn't pass.
Back
put
on
it
May
in
again, you can put it
May.
back on. How's that sound?
The whole week thing.
I'm fine with that. Like I said, I'm kinda torn because I had no idea we were gonna get in the predicament we're in. I mean,
Yeah, there you go, that's a compromise.
2.5 would probably be even with the 3, but give
But
it
it
a little bit of
sounds-
leeway.
It sounds better though. You know what I mean? That's the way people are, that's why they charge you 99
I-
cents instead of $1.
Perception.
Yeah. But I don't know, 2.5 would do you or not.
I mean, like I said, the thing is even a 3 mil levy, we can't afford to go out and buy $30,000 worth of packs. That's what I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
We're still gonna bank on a grant, and that's why I'm pushing to change grant companies to try to get a grant that we can secure from somebody that seems like he knows what's going on.
That
compared
part
to-
there, I don't mind at all, because I would rather pay the money, get the grant, than to pay the money and not get the grant.
I'll go along with that.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't.
And like I said, my thing is even with the grant, we will not get awarded this grant if we get it until, it'll be summer next year. So we're still in a predicament come November. Can we get by with packs from November until June? We might not have a single fire. We might have.
Let me ask you another
I don't
thing.
know, you
What,
know.
how much is the 2 mil gonna bring in?
What'd you say, Bill?
2 mil will
something.
bring in 15,990 a year.
15?
Yep. Just shy
But
of
even that's not
16,000.
gonna come in until after these bottles are,
Right.
Right.
So a 3 mil's only gonna bring you in 7,000 some dollars more, right?
23,980, I think he said.
Yep. 23,986.
So you're talking, yeah, about 8 grand.
And that's per year. I mean,
Well, the 2 mil, it wasn't gonna be enough if you had to replace them things to begin with. So 2 mil is no good. I would have to say to try the 3 mil. If it don't come in the following May, we put it back on, we'll go for either 2 or 2.5 then.
I'm fine with that.
How's the rest of you feel?
I figure we might as well shoot it, give it a shot. It hasn't been, it's been 19, almost 20
No.
years since we've done it.
Now, I can tell you, okay, now if you go to the cost of a homeowner,
That's what I was
a
wondering.
2 mil for a $1,000 house value, you're looking at $200 a year. You're taking somebody with $1,000 value home, going to a 3 mil up to $300 extra a year, that's $100 a year more they're gonna pay.
You're talking
You mean
100,000?
It'd be 100,000.
100,000.
Okay.
They're looking at $1,000.
100,000, sorry.
I was gonna
So
say.
We do have a couple of those in the
So the
village,
difference
but not
between a
very
2 and
many.
a 3 is about $100 a year
$100 a
for
year.
$100,000 value.
But you're talking about $8 a month.
Yeah.
You lose $8 a month, you have no idea at the end of the month what you did with it.
Let me tell you.
I know.
My
I'm-
wife's worth $8 a month, that's for darn
That's,
sure.
that's what I was saying.
Well, I would-
This,
yeah, I
this
would
is a
agree.
Gotta
village
make
of,
sure you get out there to-
middle-aged elderly people. And they need to have that ability to get to the hospital.
And that's
Well, that's
gonna be
worth
the
$8.
complaint, that the older people are on a fixed income, they can't afford to pay more taxes, and the young people are gonna say, well, the old people use it more, why do we have to pay extra taxes?
It could also be for their children, huh?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just- I'm just
Yeah, I
throwing
know.
out-
I know what you're
So
saying.
you
Yeah,
can tell them,
it's-
get to the hospital the best way you can.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but
I'm,
what
I'm
you're,
serious.
but what you're forgetting is they don't pay anyhow. It's free to them.
Who?
The ambulance in service.
In
Oh, yeah.
service
Yeah.
and a
In
resident.
town, in residence.
And actually, the
They're-
people that's over 65 get the Homestead Act the same as I get. And I paid
Well, I'm just throwing
darn
out,
cheap.
you know,
On my place over there, at $500 for 6 months, I'm at $132. That's pretty darn nice. So, I mean, I'd go to pay it. I'd like to try it.
Like your taxes.
Yes.
$132 a month.
$132 for 6 months.
Oh, we gotta get that checked out.
The homestead.
I can show you the bill.
Oh, no, we believe.
Yeah, I pay close to $1,700 a year.
I gotta show you how to do it. You better listen to me.
Alright, so what are you guys' thoughts? You want to?
I'll make a motion to go with the 3. What do we have to do to change this thing here?
Can
Change
I
it
just
to
go and
a
change
three?
it on your,
Yeah, MS4, so you
Yeah.
modify.
okay, modify it.
I think we need more discussion, I'm sorry, I just.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, not just tonight, because we need to think of presenting it positively to the resident. You know, we have to come up with a plan to sell it to the residents, you know,
Well,
because.
the police department's gonna go out, fire department's gonna go out and do that. And they do a pretty good job, but if they say what he has said, what's it worth, $8 or whatever it's gonna be? To me, it's worth it. Go ahead.
No, I'm just back.
Georgiana, you're allowed to say anything you want to.
I know, I don't have a problem with it myself, I mean, my life is more important than whatever it is. But I just know how the people of this town are, so we need to be able to be convincing to get them to vote yes.
Well, they would
on it.
have to go out and convince.
And that's
you
all
are
gonna
right.
be on the fire department.
Yeah.
But we can help.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
We
I think
can't
it
put no
lies-
money
it
with it.
lies with
Oh,
all
no,
of
no,
us,
but I
not
mean,
just
I
the
went
fire
out,
department.
remember last time I went out
thought,
and
and that,
talked to
you know,
them.
you need an advertising campaign kind of almost, you know, to get
Jeffers.
people to sign up, because if Gene tells people that, what he said, they're gonna come back at him just, you know.
Well, they
same
do it
way.
to me all the time.
That's what I'm saying,
There,
they're
but
gonna argue.
there wasn't anything wrong. I mean, that's the bottom line.
That is, that's
Is
reality.
your health
That's
more
reality.
important than $8 a month?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
But you need to talk to 1,000 people out in the town and ask them that, and I'm betting you half of them or more is gonna say, no, it's not worth that money
Well,
because
probably
I
half
don't
of that, and
use
half
it."
doesn't even pay the tax because they're renters.
Well, and I understand that, and they don't pay their rent either, right?
I'll make a motion to go with the 3 mil levy.
No, I was just saying that sometimes you just gotta be brutally honest with people and tell them, this is the facts.
That's the problem,
This is
though.
your choice. Why can't you cook it?
But even if you,
Nobody's-
even if you're
nobody's-
talking 3 mil or 2 mil, some of the people are still gonna,
Oh, no.
they're gonna balk at 2 mil.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Oh, I
you
know.
No, that's true, that's a good point.
You know,
that's
I
what
mean-
I'm
They're
saying,
three
you
or
have to
one of them are
present
involved
it,
too, 'cause they don't want
like
any.
you said, you have to present it truthfully, not candy coated, but you also have to convince them that they need it.
I
Well,
mean,
when
and
you
what do
get-
you have, what happens whenever the department can no longer function? It implodes on itself due to lack of funds. And you're gonna wait for Brewster, Wilmot, or Navarre to come down here and get you, or Smith, or somebody from Bethlehem?
Yeah,
And how long do you have to have a heart attack and wait before you get care, before you're no longer in this world?
exactly.
And
Can I ask one
you
other
need to
question?
get on a soapbox and say that.
The last time they put a levy on, the fire department. Do we know how much it passed by and how much lost by? Do we know that?
You'd
I
have
think
to-
I'll look for you.
we'd
I
have
would like to
look
see
up.
that.
Go to the Board of Elections.
That would help.
Board of
Have
Elections
all those
would have
How
it.
long has it been?
2000.
99?
Cause how many?
Or was it
yeah.
2000?
I think it said 2000, Deb, but it might have been 99 and it was.
I'm just thinking
40
of
to
the people
2000.
who are trying to rent.
Well, I'd like to see what it passed by, whether, because the fire department had to do a good job, because they got passed.
The fire department, on the last election, the fire department went door to door. I
Right.
mean, we went door to
That's
door.
right.
I know you did.
And all we could do is try to do the same thing, but I agree with both sides here. I mean, you're talking, nobody wants to pay any more taxes. I totally understand, and I'm in the same boat. And that's why I said, I'm just trying to do what's right. I don't know that, and that's why I come over here the last time, and I told you, and we even disagreed then, when I said a 2 mil versus a 3 mil. That's why I went with the 2 mil, because we would have been able to sustain what we needed to sustain with the 2 mil. Now with this PAX, I mean, if we get a grant next year, it ain't gonna matter. But that's a big if. I mean, we have to have SCBA's. We can't go out and fight fires without SCBA's. We gotta have it.
We are gonna do a little bit better with this.
Yeah, that would help,
Out of towners.
yeah.
But when they talked about a 2 mil, I'd already say a 3 before, because ain't it nice to get ahead once in a while, instead of always trying to catch up?
That's just it, we're always against the ropes.
It makes you feel like we hit serve eviction on someone, one of the renters in town. That's what he said.
But you think,
Oh, wait, they're done.
It
Well,
wouldn't be-
landlord is one paying the tax, and the other.
It wouldn't be so bad, the tax that you're asking for the fire department, but if you look down the road, some of these papers is coming down, there's a lot of extra taxes people could pay, and you're gonna have that car.
Well, if you look in the newspaper, everybody's put taxes on. I'm telling you, I see it.
You're gonna have a car.
The certificate of result of the election, it was November of 1999. It was for, it's a replacement of a tax of 6 mils, it was a continuing levy. Total number of votes cast was 345, for the levy 179, and against the levy 166.
It's gonna be rough.
That was for 6 mil?
Continuous 6, so it was already going.
and it was a replacement, that wasn't a new one.
Because somehow the millages gradually go down over the year's time with the continuing levy. And we had to write that we didn't lose what we had, but we wanted it to go back up to the 6 mils.
And that's the one that we still have in place, right?
Yes, it's
So we
cute.
don't want nothing messing with that.
No,
We
there's
lose
nothing
that,
to
we're
mess with
done.
that.
Right, so there, yeah.
This
And
one,
that's,
supposedly this one
that's
has
the
to
biggest
finish.
thing the people in this village need to understand. We have not asked for any additional money in 20
Yeah.
years. That is unheard of, absolutely unheard of. And as soon as this 3 mil goes through in 5 years, we're back down to where we were 20 years ago again. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I can push. I live in the village just like anybody. I don't wanna pay any more taxes either, but unfortunately, it's coming to the point where equipment is so expensive. Stuff that we get is just so expensive. We cannot continue to function on money that we earned set 20 years ago. You know, it's absolutely unheard of.
Was that, done on the November
Mhm.
ballot?
Right,
Okay.
99,
Okay.
One by 15 bucks.
But like I said, Georgie, not to undermine you, I agree with what you're saying too. I wanna do what's right for the citizens. I'm not here to try to gouge anything. I just wanna do what's right.
Oh, and I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Oh,
I agree with
absolutely.
you. We need it.
Absolutely.
I mean.
And I mean, that's the thing, even with the 3 mil levy, with the amount that PACs are gonna cost, with the extra money that we're getting, you're still gonna be tying money up pretty tight to buy 8 new PACs. You're just gonna be tying it up. You know, so.
Well, I made the motion, then whatever you wanna do.
Which was the motion?
For the
What'd you
3 mil
say?
levy.
I'll second it.
Bennett,
Yeah, you can try it.
Yeah, we can give it a shot.
Fair,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Schott.
Yes.
I'd like to
Okay.
make a motion on the,
I have
grant
one
writer.
question on that.
Okay, go ahead.
Have you talked to anybody who's used this new grant writer?
Yes, Mohawk Valley is actually the closest place to us that use them. They were with Gatchel Grant Writing, believe it or not. They switched over 3 years ago. And from my understanding, since they switched over, they have received a grant every year, including a fire truck. Okay, so I can't tell you that I'm gonna pay this guy and he's gonna write us a grant and we're gonna get $300,000. It's all up to the government. All I can tell you is when I talk to this guy, when I talk to Gatchel will say, well, let's try it. This guy don't say, let's try it. This guy says, this is what we gotta do. We'll do it like this. If we write it like this will go through. If it don't, and he flat out told me, we were all hip on getting a new engine. He said, I'm gonna tell you right now, he said, they changed the rules on that. And he said, for a village of our size, for the amount of calls that these trucks run out on, he said, they're putting them on the bottom of the list because they just don't go out that much, you know what I mean? So the guy keeps up with what's going on with FEMA. So that's why I'm confident, and it's time to change our grant writer. And I mean, we can go back, we've been successful with some grants, but I will tell you, we've never been successful with FEMA trying to write it ourselves. We've secured grants from the state that I write, or that Captain Thompson's has written, which actually, believe it or not, he's got 3 grants out right now. 3 EMS grants he just submitted again. I mean, we're on top of grants as much as we can be on top of grants. And I'm like anybody, I don't wanna pay any more money than I pay now either. That's why we do our best to secure as many grants as we can. And Beach City's been very fortunate in the last few years that we've received some of the grants we've received, but we just haven't lucked out on these big FEMA grants that the other departments are getting, and I think that the grant writer is a big part of it. Originally, my plan was our Cascade system over there, our compressor is broke. We can use it. It has an automatic shutoff. Now, when we bought this compressor in '98, it was used. This thing is so outdated, we can't even get parts for it. But in order to write for a compressor and packs, we're talking $4,000 because it's 2 different grants. I talked to Dan tonight before I come over. I think we're gonna forget the compressor for now, but we have to write for packs. We have to. The compressor, we can send the heavy rescue to Wilmot. They're more than willing to open the door, and we can fill our Cascade over there. And if we gotta do that after every fire, then that's what we'll do until we can get a compressor. But the packs, we just can't do that. We have to write, and that's why I'm so adamant. And I would almost assure you that I can get the association to pay for half of this first grant. And like I said, if he's right, we'll get $1,500 of it awarded back to us, you know what I mean? The other advantage of going with him is Vera charges an 8% max, or 8% match on the grant, and he is at 5%. Now, he did not tell me if it caps. Vera caps at 3,000. I don't know if his caps out. I did not ask him that, and maybe it says in that paper I gave him. But like I said, if you read his success rates on that paper, that's why I've been contemplating this for the last 2 years, and I've just stuck with Vera. And like I said, we've just not received, for the amount of money we're shelling out. I'd rather pay a little more and have a better shot at getting it as to paying it and it just falling through the cracks.
So what are we gonna do, have a first reading on this, Debbie, or what?
I would have the first reading and let me physically go in and change it for the
Okay.
next meeting. You'll have time, won't you, Steve?
Yeah, the deadline would be August 8th,
That's what I thought. But we have to have this back.
August 7th.
This goes to Stark County, get approval, then we have to write the ordinance for the actual levy.
So,
Pass that one, and then that's what goes to Stark County that I have to take in and file.
right.
Yeah, Stark County.
But we were voting on changing it.
Yeah, we voted to change it to the 3 mil, which I wrote it up, and I can go in and change what he did.
We were voting on the grant writing. Somebody made a motion.
Yeah, I made the motion.
Oh,
But
so,
there's no second.
okay, that's what, the grant, okay.
Okay, I'll second it, I didn't, I
know
must
you
have
did.
missed that.
Okay, Bennett,
Yes.
Fair,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Shaw.
Yes.
Like I said, that money will not be due until he writes the grant, but I just want to be able to get back, and I can't do anything until I talk to the association. Our meeting won't be till the first Tuesday, and if they say they're not willing to pay, then I'll come back and say, hey, here's where we stand, but I'm fairly certain I can get them to agree that it's time to switch, so, but that's where we'll stand with that. Like I said before, Dale Thompson writes our EMS grants through the state of Ohio. He has 3 grants in as far as this year goes. He submitted a training grant, which is what we used, not to bring up a sore subject with the EMR class, but that is where that money come from. He submitted what is called a hardship grant, which we're hoping will help cover, if we can secure it, will help cover the cost of the equipment that we will be ordering soon, the two power load systems and the power cot. Hopefully that will help secure some money to put towards that we were financing. And he also wrote another grant for a Life Pack 15. We just got the 15 last year, so the odds of getting another 15, who knows, probably slim. But like I said, we're on top of it, we stay on top of it, and we do the best we can to get as much money in as we can secure. So them are all out. The last thing I got, I wanna revisit a little bit on Thursday. After some comments that I'm sure people have seen on Facebook, I'd like to revisit Thursday a little bit. If you guys remember, Thursday is when the tornado warnings come in around 8 o'clock. We were running bingo around 8 o'clock or shortly before. We were alerted for an active tornado alert in our area, okay? At that time, our station immediately opened up for a tornado shelter, as it always does. I want that on record. We open our building every time there's a tornado shelter for anybody to come in. I don't care where they live. If they feel they're unsafe, they are welcome, okay? With that being said, everything turned to crap real quick, okay? The winds picked up, the rain picked up, the power went out. As I'm setting the tornado siren, we lost power, so unfortunately the tornado siren went off for maybe a minute and kicked out because the battery backup takes a second to kick in. So around that time, as we're standing at the front door, we got a crew going up to power our UHF tower because now we can't set our tones. We have the emergency backup generator for Red Center. We have to get up there as quick as we can to power the tower. I sent a crew out to do that. Around the same time, I had a young lady pull up on the pad and was probably 20, 30 feet away from me, pouring down rain. And she said that she was from the trailer court and that she wanted to know if she could come there to seek shelter. And I did say, excuse me, because I couldn't hear her over the wind and the rain, and she repeated herself. At that time, I told her, I said, it is definitely safer to be at our fire department than at the trailer court. And I got distracted because Brewster started yelling for me over the radio because they were out on multiple calls letting us know the tower's down, which we were on top of. The car drove away, and like I said, we got distracted because by now we're going out on power lines down, we're going out on trees down, and we were busy. I did not realize at that time that the woman had drove away with her children. Until later that evening, I'm reading on Facebook how I told people that they were safer to go to a trailer and seek shelter. That is in no way, shape, or form, anyway, what I would ever tell anybody to do. I think anybody would know that the trailer is definitely the worst spot you could ever be in the event of a tornado. And like I said, again, we always open our tornado shelter. We always open it. As soon as we sound the siren, the station opens up. We were running bingo. We absolutely were. They were in the hall. Anybody seeking shelter was in the bay. And at the same time, there was probably, I'm guessing, 20 residents already, most of them from the trailer park area, that have already come to the station to seek shelter. So why this was misconstrued, I have no idea. I publicly apologized on Facebook, and I apologized to the woman, and at the time she admitted that it was probably a misunderstanding and everything was okay. But then I noticed the next day on Facebook, she was back to saying, no, I was just trying to keep my job, and everything, and you know, I'm sure you guys know that this to me is not a job. This is to me as a passion. You guys don't pay me to do this. It's not about saving my job. It's about protecting our community, and that's what my heart's been in for 20 years at this fire department. So for anybody to think that I would put anybody in danger, it really bothers me, and I have talked to you about that. It truly does. So once again, like I said, I want everybody to know, if we do have inclement weather, the minute the tornado siren rings, the doors are open at the fire department. Our guys man that station until 2 o'clock in the morning when the power come back on. We man that station to ensure that anybody on Home 02 or a CPAP or anybody that had trouble, we could get to them immediately, okay? We cleared at 2 o'clock, and unfortunately at 4 a.m. we were back out on a CO investigation, and we were out for another 2 hours. I did not get home. Mind you, I called off work from Temkin because of the deal. I should have been on midnight. I didn't get home till 6:30 that morning. So we don't do this for pay. We don't do this for a job. We do this for a passion. And we do this because we want to do this.
And they had the
So
door open because there was 5 or 6 of them standing in the doorway during the whole storm.
We
because
had
I
a
was
full-
looking out the window.
We had a full crew until 2 o'clock that morning, I assure you that. The weather had calmed down by 8:39, and because the power out, which wasn't Beach City's fault, it was because of Edison, we're aware of that. We made sure we staffed a full crew, and not only a full crew, but I could have ran a full fire response or multiple EMS calls. I had a full crew at that station until 2 o'clock in the morning. And like I said, for somebody to say the comments, it was, and I apologize if that's what she feels I said. I truly, truly apologize, but that is definitely not in any way, shape, or form what was said. So,
You're finding out the hard way, like some of us have here. There is an element in this village that if Christ himself came down and started to run it, it wouldn't be good enough.
no, you're
They
you're
would
absolutely
find
right.
fault.
You're absolutely
And
right.
I don't care who they are, I'm not running again. And I'm gonna start telling them what I think.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, maybe I'm a little biased because I am in charge over there. We got a darn good group of men over there, okay?
And
And
women.
ladies.
So that's just
A
it,
darn
and they
good group
attack
of guys.
their honor.
And the thing that I can point out, okay, I hear all these people talking about staffing and this and that, and, you know, we do what we do. If you would compare our wages to some of the other local areas that are staffing, our wages are a drop in the bucket
Exactly.
compared to what these
Oh,
people are
absolutely.
paying for this staffing. And we're still out the door within 4 or 5 minutes, and that's us getting out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and coming to the station.
And the ones that complain are the last ones that would ever
And
try
like I
to
said,
join.
it's not for the pay, and I have plenty of applications over there, and I encourage anybody that feels they can make a difference in this village or in the township, come over and get an application, because the door is open and we'll take anybody we can get.
I mean, everybody thinks it's a joke when I say it, but I have said on numerous occasions to some of the people in this village who feel that they have the answers, I will gladly pay the $30 to get you on the ballot to run, so you can pull your backsides up underneath this table and solve this village's problems. Because that's all I really care about. Like I said, I don't know anybody sitting here for fame and fortune.
No.
Get
I
him,
think-
get him in your ambulance.
I had actually hoped that the person, I didn't get to read, is your thing taping? Okay, good, hopefully people actually watch this thing. I didn't get to read the comments because I can't get on that page that's run by a certain someone. If that tells you something, I mean, don't let, they don't
That's
want
why I
people
didn't
wonder
see
that
it.
might actually have an opinion, it could be true. So I didn't get to read the comments, but you called me about it, I knew you were upset. I was upset. I don't know this person that made the comments. I was hoping she would be here tonight because I was going to tell her a little something. And any of the rest of them out there that go onto these pages and they bash the police. Recently it was the police. Now it's the fire department. Sometimes it's me. Sometimes it's the rest of you guys. Sometimes it's the utilities department. They just do it for, I don't know what, something to do, I guess. Maybe that's the only talent they have. I don't know. But it upsets me because you people at the fire department, you don't get, well, you do get paid, but you don't really get paid. You're a volunteer. When that thing goes off in the middle of the night, you get out of your warm bed to get down there to run into a burning house. That could be this person's that posted this stuff about you. Or you could get up in the middle of a meal and have to leave. Go out on a snow-covered road. This person that posted that stuff about you could have ran their car off the road. So you're out there helping them. That's why you do it. So to think that somebody that does this for a volunteer would say something as absurd as to go back to a trailer park during a tornado. No, but trust me, nobody here thinks you said that. I know you didn't say that. If she honestly thinks she heard that, then she was mistaken. Personally, I think she's just lying. And another thing, if you have to go somewhere from a trailer park to ask if you should leave a trailer park in a tornado, you're an idiot. So that's all I got to say about it.
And like the mayor said on that website, if you disagree with them, if you present facts and truth to them, they boot you, because they don't want that. They're in their own little echo chamber. And all they want to do is bash the council, bash the mayor, bash the village.
First thing I will say is I'm in line with Chief Gripe. I do not comment on Facebook posts, okay? But at this particular time, and with the allegations that were being said, I felt I had to. Okay, and even after apologizing on Facebook, and she admitted that maybe it was a misunderstanding that night, the next day the post started again.
Oh,
And that's the
somebody
only
got
reason
to
I'm
it.
even bringing it up. You know, I just want people to know, everybody in here to know that when the weather turns to crap like it did on Thursday, the doors are open and they remain open until it's safe to go back to wherever they need to go back to. We will never turn anybody away. I don't care if they live in the village of Beach City, in the Sugar Creek Township area. I don't care if they're from Baltic. If they feel that they need protection, they are welcome in our department, and they always will be, period. And like I said, I can't say enough that our guys are there not for a job, they're there for a passion. We do not make enough money. If I did, I assure you, I wouldn't have to go to Timken here in 2 hours, because I wouldn't be going.
I think
I
anybody
don't-
in the village who is in touch with reality knows.
Well, look how
They
much-
know what you guys do. I mean, you can get up from the supper table, and that could be the last time that your family ever sees you.
Absolutely.
And look how much money you lost that night.
Well, and
by
that's what
not
I'm
going
saying,
to
I
work.
lost $225
So-
versus the $8 an hour I get paid through you guys, and I'm
Exactly,
not
so-
complaining, because if I was, I would've went to work.
Right.
I stayed home to make sure that everything was going
That's
the
why
way
you
that it
know
needed
the
to
lady
go.
doesn't know what she's talking about.
So-
You don't
She's
believe you
misguided.
get- she
Like I
might
said,
think
I
you get
just,
paid
I just
50
wanted to
grand.
make sure we touched on it. I was hoping she was here today too. She's obviously not,
They usually
so.
don't show.
And maybe that tells you a little something too, you know what I mean? It's pretty easy to sit there and type all kinds of stuff, but
Oh, yeah, you can't believe the courage that
Yeah.
people have sitting behind that screen and what they'll say to you. Come down here and face me with it, you know?
If I had a problem with you, and I didn't know who you were and stuff, I would have went directly to the mayor. The very next day, I would have called this village hall and I would have complained to them. Nobody on social media is gonna help you.
No.
They just do that to do it, I don't know. I mean, that's why we have a mayor and a council, all that, you know? They could have called a councilman, they could have done anything they wanted to, but they didn't. I didn't see it, but like, I'm not on that one either.
Well, I was sitting
So
over
that's
at the
what you
tavern
know.
when somebody heard all that and started complaining to me,
Okay, yeah, well,
and I didn't believe it.
no, you can't.
rest assured, we know
Yeah.
why you're over there, Bill,
Right.
and you have our full backing, and
Yep.
I know you never
appreciate
said that.
And I'm gonna back Gene to run the next time, because he's gonna stay alive longer that way.
Why they have to do that?
Right, Gene?
What's that?
Oh, you didn't hear
Can't hear
it.
it.
I said,
That,
I'm
that's
gonna
all
back
I
you to
got
run
for
the
tonight. Like I
next
said,
time.
I'm not asking for any
Stay
money,
alive.
but if we get the association to agree to that $12.50 for that grant writer, I am gonna go ahead and contact him and get him secured so we don't miss out on getting a grant, so. And if not, then I will come back and we'll revisit the idea, so.
Very good, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Chief Geip, what did you do to irritate people this week?
Well, he didn't bring donuts at a council meeting.
Come on.
I
They
was
drive
outside
in the day
my
long way.
house tonight. I heard a little bit of siren right outside my house tonight, that irritated me.
Was it police siren?
Sure was.
Really?
Sounded like it.
Somebody busted a truck on Redwood the other night, sitting there watching Leave It to Beaver.
Really? So, with the storm, I don't really have a whole lot, so I'm just gonna put some filler information so I can at least say something. With the storms last week, I do wanna thank Casey Fire Department. I had my officers out.
Who?
Oh my gosh, Bill, sorry, chief.
That's okay.
Bill and the fire department for opening it up. They we were able to take our radios over there to put them on the charger. I'm not sure why, Donnie, but can you have one of the guys show me how to work our generator back at the police department?
They should be right.
So,
How they get it out of the garage? I'll check it.
well, I think there's a switch on that pole.
Oh, okay, you remember
Maybe
that?
we don't have the key to it.
Oh, okay, transfer switch.
Yeah, the transfer switch, I'm not sure what we need to do. I don't have a key to it, I know that, so we'll look at it. But, the chief here and his department allowed us to take our radios over there. I did have my officers out until 3 o'clock in the morning. I had planned on coming in at 3, but chief texted me and said power's back on, so I was excited, cause our first notification is power could have been out for 3 or 4 days. So I was setting up plans for officers to be here until the power came back on, but I really appreciate the fire department being there and letting us kind of hang out in their facility, and appreciate my guys staying over, and they stayed out till the power was on, so appreciate everyone that did that.
We appreciate it as well.
So this weekend was St. Patrick's Day weekend. I had a ton of coverage out here. I was out the whole week. I was out Friday and Saturday night. Saturday night, one of my officers pulled over a car full of some intoxicated people who thought it was a great idea that they wanted to start challenging my officers and tried to get my officers to fight them. Thankfully, my officers did the right thing and was able to de-escalate the situation by just communicating with them. And I'm very, very proud of them for that. They did what they were trained to do and did a very good job. Because when I got there, there was some yelling going on, phones were recording, and they de-escalated it very quick. So I was very thankful for that. Still not a fun situation to be in, but I don't know if you guys saw, we made several traffic stops Friday and Saturday night. We were all over the place.
Your officer stopped when the lights were on at the tavern too and came in. And one girl yelled out, "We're all naked in here," and he turned around and walked away.
He told me that.
Who was that?
Gordon's girlfriend.
No, who was the officer that walked away?
Kylan.
Color guy.
Kylan.
What's his name?
Kylan.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job. He's very thankful to be here, and he's getting along very well with the residents. And he was actually one of the officers that was on that call or on that traffic stop, and was able to really keep them down to earth. The one guy says, "I'll take your badge right off the side of the road," and he said, "No, you won't, but let's talk." So it could have been a bad situation if it wasn't handled properly by my officers. So I really appreciate how they handled it. By the time I got there, it was, oh yeah. Yep. So other than that, I don't really have anything. Everything's just moving right along.
All right, very good. Thank you. Mr. Lambert, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yeah, the price of them signs, that was for both signs out here to do.
Okay.
So that, $672.50 for both signs, if you wanna do that.
We went ahead motion for that last time, didn't we?
Yeah, you told me,
I
you
think you
told me
wanted
to
him
check
to,
on.
I think you told Don to
Okay.
see if that was for one sign or
Okay.
for both of them. That's for
So
both.
you
of them.
made the motion then?
No, I haven't made no motion, I was just saying that, so that's a total for both of the signs.
Yep.
I'll make the motion, go ahead if we have to.
Okay. I'll second.
Bennett, Ms. Bear,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes.
Is this light underneath the sign out here, does it come on? I've never seen it
No, I don't
on.
think it's worked probably in 8 years.
Oh, okay. I just happened to notice the sign, the light was back there.
Yeah. And also, the ditch box that, workman's comp says we had to have, I got that ordered, $62.73 is what the price was on that. And we got a letter from Canton Water, they raised our rates 5%.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, that was on Facebook.
And that is all I have.
With the ditch box, was that the last piece we needed to be BWC compliant with?
Yeah.
Okay, so everything is good there?
We got everything they said.
Okay, did we get all them the paperwork that they needed?
Sent some of it out today.
Excellent, thank you.
I heard something on the radio today about there's someplace around Akron or something, they raised their sewer has to become compliant with EPA or something. It's like a third, that the lady said it was like, her water bill now is 3 times as high, someplace up north. But we're not the only one who's getting hit with that kind of stuff.
What are we gonna have to do on the water bill, Don, to comply with the 5% increase? Do we have to raise anything or what?
Well,
Go ahead.
Oh, right now, we even got a contract with them yet.
no, we don't have a
I
contract,
know.
but didn't we pass something like 3 years ago that we were gonna raise it so
Yes.
much each year, and we tabled it this past, a year ago, did we not?
Yeah.
We did not raise it?
And I
No, I
thought
thought we
this
did.
year we did go ahead in January.
So did I.
Because I was,
But yeah, we did.
I was
table
thinking
it.
we tabled it and didn't raise it.
Did we table it or?
I'd have to go back and pull
I can't
date, I don't remember.
Thought we tabled it then passed.
I think so, I think we tabled it like in the spring of 2018 and then passed it at the end of 18 or the beginning of 19.
Are we going back and negotiate anything with Canton then, or what?
Well,
They don't seem to be in a hurry. I don't know. Oh, lawyer.
we
It
haven't,
doesn't
we
seem to
haven't
do
been,
anything
we
about
haven't
keeping the price
asked them
down,
yet.
right?
Yeah, we had a memorandum of understanding in place for the rate to remain constant for a
Until,
period of not
yeah.
less than a year. That 1 year would have ended March 2019.
Right on time, huh?
Mhm.
So, I did some research into the case law, and if you don't have a contract, and a situation like that occurs, you can file, and a court will determine what's reasonable. They essentially have two requirements: the rate has to be reasonable, and it may not be unjustly discriminatory to one particular customer over another. As to the reasonableness, we all know that they referenced the water rate study, so just being candid, if they have a water rate study, just like the village obtained, then it probably says they need to raise it. To the unjust discrimination, I don't know what they charge other, I know East Canton is on,
North Canton is,
North Canton is.
David
East
Held?
Canton. No, I think North Canton has their own,
East Canton's the one that
Yeah.
I'm aware of.
yeah.
I thought they was negotiating with help.
They may be negotiating.
Okay.
I believe North Canton has their own, and then Aqua Ohio is the private company that I think buys from Maslin and provides elsewhere. So you'd have to establish that it's unjustly discriminatory as it relates to other, non-resident customers. Probably a tough
Yeah, because I think they said non-residents was going up 15%, wasn't it? Isn't that what the article in the paper said?
Can't remember that for sure.
So it
I
definitely
think it
weren't
was,
discriminating.
Canton residents would be $5 a year. Everybody else would be 17.
Maybe that's what I read. Okay. Did you find anything on when we passed that or no?
I am not, as of this time, I have not found it.
We can dig into it and get the information for the next meeting, but yeah, I think we already had something in place
I think we need
to cover it. Stephen, do you have anything for us tonight?
I completed the, letter that we discussed for the fire department. And I did that in a format, so it can be,
I printed two off, I didn't know if you would pass for Sharon or,
oh, okay, yeah.
I printed more.
I had not printed any, but it's done as a form, and the purpose was so that, with the exception of the date, which can be changed, if you run into this situation in the future, you'd be able to just fill it out and send it to people. The alternative would be, I draft the exact same letter and just put the information in. I thought this might be easier, and
I think it would be, yeah.
for purposes of longevity, you have one document that, at least as long as the law doesn't change, should be good.
So if Bill gets me the information I need to add into here, then I
Yeah.
can get these signed and,
And I have that from,
or do I have to sign it? Is there a place that I sign it?
yeah,
There's a line
bottom,
down there.
right.
Where's the line?
To be honest, I wanted to keep it on one page. There is a small space right there.
I'll be right there, right there, okay.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm just giving it a hard time.
I wanted to make sure the letterhead looked good.
Yeah, it does, it looks nice.
Do, yeah, hopefully they test your eyes.
Yeah,
Oh, this probably, yeah, has all the information in it.
it doesn't
See,
have,
this- I don't think I sent
the
this to you,
name.
I didn't get to it till the end of the day.
Yeah, the person's name? Right here.
it does, yeah, so it should be easy enough as filling in
Yeah.
the name, the address, and then you can just put in when they last did training, when they last.
Yep, okay. I'll put this here, and then I'll make copies of this, and I'll get them filled out.
Can I keep this safe?
Yes,
Thank you.
and I can send you the file, Bill.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
And that was all I had.
All right. Anybody else have anything we need to go over tonight?
I gave Steve an article on that cell phone stuff. That wireless.
Small cell wireless?
5G?
Yeah. Top page, the agency and then the bill is on the
Okay.
And I have one thing for, Councilman McKinney. He stopped to see me last week. He gave me the handouts, which are on my desk, from the meeting he attended. You were sick. That was
Mhm.
the health department.
Mhm.
He gave me the handouts and the information for that, and he said that it is going up, was it 5%?
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot, yeah.
So our yearly dues will be going up slightly for the health department. That was voted on and approved at the last meeting that McKinney attended. And I did not hear from his wife tonight, so I don't know how surgery went.
I'll probably try to text him tomorrow. Anybody else have anything? There is one other thing I want to share. Councilman McKinney's not here tonight. But I have decided to seek a second term as mayor of Beach City. Hopefully, I do not run unopposed. Hopefully, there are people that run against me because I think we need choices. But it is my intention to seek a second term. So.
I didn't know that.
If anybody has anything else, yes, no, otherwise, meeting's adjourned.
So you got that